balance sheet of the world today, 900 trillion, that has $400 trillion of debt. That balance sheet would not be 900 trillion if the $400 trillion of debt was insolvent. But the $400 trillion of debt is insolvent, right? So in other words, all of the assets that you're mispricing because you think the debt is solvent are included in that asset value of a balance sheet. Imagine you're inside, you, Brandon, are inside that balance sheet, and you have your assets of your house and your car and everything else that are all some total, and your debt against it. If you think if you have a whole bunch of clear assets, then you can continue to spend based on that, right? So you think your wealth would be included in that. So your spending power, how much you think you have, is based on that. Now, if all the debt became insolvent tomorrow and it all failed, then all of the house prices and all of the money in the bank wouldn't be there, and everything would collapse to, let's say this, it sure wouldn't be a $900 trillion balance sheet. It might be a $100 billion balance sheet, because there would be nothing left, because it's the entire thing is based on pieces of paper having and those pieces of paper, that debt being solvent. So now if you divided that 900 trillion to think in purchasing power by 21 million, you would get about $43 million per Bitcoin. And now make up for lost coins. How many lost coins? It would be higher. It would be higher than 43 million. But then if you realize that in 5 years, that $900 trillion balance sheet won't be 900 trillion, and the debt won't be 400 trillion, because if it was the same, the entire thing would collapse, because it has to grow exponentially to be able to keep it solvent. In other words, money manipulation has to grow exponentially to keep that system solvent. And you're measuring everything from that money manipulation. So call that a $2 quadrillion balance sheet at the time, with maybe 1.4 billion or 1.4 quadrillion being debt, maybe more, right? As that explodes, is essentially you're driving inflation, destroying currency values to be able to do that. It might be higher. Then measure Bitcoin at that time, and the purchasing power, right, of that Bitcoin, even if it had doubled, hadn't actually doubled. It's just the balance sheet you're measuring it from. So what I was trying to do is say, what is the terminal value of Bitcoin in today's purchasing power? And that's only one side of that that's only one side of that argument. The other side of that argument is the 43. If you just said 900 trillion today was fixed, 400 trillion was fixed today, and 21 million is fixed today, then because the free market is deflationary and exponentially so with technology and everything we're moving, then the purchasing power of the 43 million expands infinitely over time, because relative to other things that are falling over and over and over forever, that purchasing power increases. So that's what I was trying to describe. But a lot of people took it as a comparison against the U.S. system, which it was only a comparison against the dollar-based system or the fiat system to show how ludicrous that example was.
George Gammon, you the last year or two, you guys have gone back and forth kind of over and over again. And I think you guys seemingly got to a place where even he admitted himself that he's like, hey, we agree on everything. It seems to be like time horizon, or maybe that's not the best way to say it, but he thinks that people seemingly, I'm paraphrasing what he was saying, but he doesn't think people change as much as you will. Like, we know Bitcoin changes people, it's changed us, right? It's changed our lives, where he says, hey, I don't know, like maybe it's another fourth turning 100 years from now. Do they learn the lessons of the past?
If you want the answer to that question right there, and you like that spicy clip, check it out here. Come on, we'll see you in there. But if you want the full interview in its entirety, all the spicy clips put together, and you're not going to want to miss it, believe me, then check that out here. Come on, we'll see you in there. Do it.